Skibbity Haktua, fellow Gigachads. Mogging hard or hardly rizzing. That's right, buddy. I'm back with a build today that has crazy damage reduction, bananas explosions all over the field. Look at me go, pal. If you're looking for a build that can solo -50 Grandmaster content, easily dispatch all the champions, even barrier champions, that's right. This is the build for you, buddy, so let's check it out. I got some hot tips. Hey everybody, Chris Bassett here, and in this video, I'm going to be going over my Frozen Fury Hunter build. I will say this build's super solid. I've got my own personal tweaks, so stick around, and we'll get right into the build, buddy. So we're starting off with Revenant Hunter, the Stasis subclass. Right, we're going to take advantage of the high damage reduction that the Stasis subclass provides. So, you know, there's only one super, Silence and Squall, so we'll be snagging that. I do like running Gambler's Dodge. This will alternate. So the build basically revolves around using your melee and then dodging to get that melee back. So we're going to use Gambler's Dodge to take advantage of when our melee is down. I do like triple jump. It's just the best, in my opinion, for platforming. Your only option is Withering Blade, so snag this Shuriken. And then I do like the Shatter Grenade, so when stuff's frozen, it does extra damage. Throw a grenade at it, and it goes kabloomski. Kabloomsko. Aspects, right? I do like the Grim Harvest. So this is going to help with our dodge regeneration. So while having frost armor, you take damage, you'll get class ability energy. And then also, when you do damage to a target with kinetic or stasis weapons, they shatter. Picking up stasis shards will also grant frost armor. This is huge. You're going to need that frost armor for the tankiness. And then my preference is Winter's Shroud on the second aspect because dodging slows the targets, and then when they're slow, you get faster class regeneration. So we're going to have nearly infinite uptime between our melee and our dodge. It makes a really fun gameplay loop. Fragments are going to be huge here, right? The Whisper of Rhyme is going to increase our fragment count our frost armor count from 5 to 7. So at that 7 stacks, you're going to be getting 50% damage reduction. Huge! I do like to run Whisper of Hunger. This is going to increase the melee energy that you gain from shards it's a base 10% per shard to like 17.5. So just get that melee back even faster. Whisper of Refraction. So, you know, we will be defeating these slowed targets and frozen targets, and that's more class ability energy. The Whisper of Conduction is a nice quality of life, where stasis shards now track to your position. If I'm not mistaken, this is roughly 15 to 20 yards or feet. I don't know, it's a decent way, but it's not too far away. And then Whisper of Impetus. Damaging targets with a stasis melee reloads your weapons. This is really, really nice for the primary weapon we're going to be using, which has a slow as shit reload. And this will basically funnel into where you can just throw a melee and it instantly reloads that grenade launcher. So very nice. Okay, so while I'm talking about it, let's take a look at the weapon selection. Right, we are going to be using the Fighting Lion as our primary. This is going to be really good for two things, right? It is pairs nice with the artifact as a grenade launcher, and then it will also one-shot shatter any stasis crystals on the field. So that's great for breaking the crystals, creating explosions, getting healing, and damage reduction. I will say it is nice if you can get the catalyst, because that reloads 0 otherwise. So it's really slow if you don't use the melee to instantly reload the grenade launcher. The catalyst drops from like just random events, so whether you're doing like stuff in Crucible or just quick play, it can drop from there. So if you don't have the Fighting Lion, you know, grab yourself a few exotic engrams, come over to Master Rahul, and then just decode them. Free-to-play players do get access to the Fighting Lion, so that's pretty nice. You can also go into your collections, and then under the exotic energy slot, You can find it over there, and you can regain it, re-get it for like some glimmer and enhancement cores. So yeah, super nice exotic. And then, let's see. And then the third, okay. And then for the primary weapon, we're going to be using the multi-mock, right? I do like attrition orbs and kinetic tremors. This is an Iron Banner weapon. Go talk to Saladin, Lord Salad, and get yourself some ranch and Italian dressing on that thing. You can get the roll either by engrams, purchasing engrams, or in actual Iron Banner matches. Iron Banners once a week. During the month. So 1 week of the month it will be available. It's available this week, so get in there and get it while the going's good, buddy. And then for the heavy weapon, it's a barrier weapon, Chain of Command. This was huge for the run where it has armor-piercing rounds, over, under, and adaptive munitions. So even in negative 50 content, this rips the shield off of barrier champions in like a second. So it's amazing. I did a whole dedicated video earlier about, highlighting this gun. But this is what allowed me to beat the Grandmaster with the barriers in there. Was this gun rocks, pal. Okay. And then for the armor, right, since we're focused on a melee style build, Mask of Fealty is just huge because the Withering Blade creates stasis crystals and refund the melee energy. This is going to loop back into where we can just spam the blades, spam the grenade launcher, spam the dodge, all while we're freezing everything on the field and getting energy, damage reduction, and healing all at the same time. Pretty fun stuff. So I'm going to say with the, Mask of Fealty as our exotic, you're also going to want to run the Seventh Seraph armor set. And this works really nice because the 4-piece, when you destroy constructs, which are technically your, stasis, frozen like icicles on the field, it will explode into a solar detonation that damages everything and heals you and allies. So this is really fun. You're going to see lots of kaboomies, lots of kablosions. The 2-piece also gives you plus 30 to your weapon stat and grenade stats. So if you want to allocate the stats in other places, that's also an option. But I do find it best if we're running basically 100s around, a nice balanced build. So 100 on the melee, 100 on the super, 100 on the class, 100 on the weapons. Like I said, you could probably go a little bit lower on your grenade. 50 seems decent. And I do like having just a little bit of health. That way we get health on orbs. So an additional health on orbs. So that extra health also comes from the artifact which is the Slayer Baron Apothecary Satchel. And, you will be getting extra healing from this perk, Curative Orbs. When you pick up an elemental, collecting an elemental pickup or collecting an Orb of Power grants you a small amount of health. So elemental pickles, those are delicious in frozen cucumbers. What? You pick up those pickups and you get some health, and you'll be making shards all over the field. So let's take a look at the rest of the artifact, right? I do like to run Wind Chill and Crystalline Converter, as this, it hits against slowed or frozen targets, make a stasis shard. So we'll be making shards that way. The Crystalline Converter, when you have a powered melee hit, with that charged up, you'll make stasis crystals equal to the stacks you have. So you can make the smaller crystals or you can make the bigger ones, depending on how powered up this is. Hail to the Storm. So shattering frozen targets and crystals deal increased damage, so just more damage on the field. And then, since we're using Fighting Lion, both of the artifact perks that handle grenade launchers are going to be super good for damage. So Weakened Clear, when you damage either a boss or a champion, you put a 15% debuff on them, weakening them, allowing for more damage. And then the other one is Kinetic Impacts, so sustained damage with a grenade launcher makes a kinetic shockwave. So you're just doing, on boss DPS, you can spam, or champion DPS, spam this grenade launcher into their chest hole, and you'll be making tons of explosions. And then Curative Orbs, again, you know, picking up those pickups is heal us. And then I also like Served Cold, extra class ability energy from Stasis Shards. So that's really nice. Okay, let's see. For the armor, for the armor mods, that's the word I'm looking for. I do like running double dynamo since we are dodging all over the place. This is going to help keep our super, you know, coming as fast as it can come. And then kinetic siphon. So I had a couple of points left. I'm trying to get my melee up to 100, so I'm stacking stats. Kinetic siphon for the multi-mock. It seems like when I'm fighting captains, you know, you use the overload multi-mock to stun them. You're going to be attrition orbs. Are going to be pooping out orbs, which will heal you. And then also you get a little bit of a damage boost with the attrition orbs plus the orbs off that. So, you know, on the boots, I have some kinetic surge there for 10% weapon boost while we're doing that. For the hands, I do like the Void Loader since fighting Lion is slow as shit. Throw that in there, help it out. But other than that, when we use a powered melee, which is all the time, I'm going to be reducing grenade cooldown with impact induction, and then reducing class ability with focusing strike. So both of those are nice to help keep the cooldowns cool. Okay, go to bed. For the chest piece, just got some resistances. You can customize this to whatever activity you're doing. This is my general, like just set it and forget it kind of stuff. For the feet, now this is going to be big. You're going to want some elemental charge. So collecting an elemental pickup, with this, which is the stasis shards, give you those armor charge. So, you know, we'll be getting this constantly. I also like orbs of restoration. So when we do make an orb of power, we pick it up and it goes to the least, the ability with the least amount of energy. And then for the final thing, weapon surge, help out the multi-mock just a little bit. And then for the cloak, I am running powerful attraction. So if we do make any orbs, scoop it up when we dodge. And then the 2 distributions really help. When you dodge near enemies, you get even more ability cooldown. I will say one thing that is nice is on the dodge. It does say energy gain is scaled by melee stats. So even if you do dodge and there's no enemies around, you'll still get 1 shrieking back or shrieking. But if you dodge near enemies, you'll get both. As the Mask of Fealty does have, it gives you 2 charges of melee. But let's see. Okay, boys, I think that's the build there. Let's do, I'm going to do a little bit of gameplay with some narration. Right after this, I'll do that -30 lost sector when I was farming for the armor set bonus. So stick around for that. Listen to me ramble. Okay. Alrighty, fellas, let's go ahead and grab ourselves some 7th Seraph armor. So come over to the Cosmodrome and then find the lost sector of the day. This doesn't match up because I did it yesterday, but you might want to make sure that it's set to master version of the lost sector, and we'll be doing the Exodus Garden 2A. So I am going to speed up the footage. I'm going 2 times speed. 2 time! So run off the bat. We're running up, killing this servitor. A couple of shurikens, and then a little bit of fighting lion and kabloomies. So I do like to aim for the crystals to get the explosions. Keep in mind the machine gun, chain of command, destroys barrier champions. Pop, 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 and he's done. There's a captain right up here. So one thing I do like about the Mask of Fealty is if you do spawn in crystals, you throw the shuriken at the crystal, and it splits off into like 3 more crystals. So if you got extra melees, hit the shuriken on the crystal. Other than that, throw it into the enemy, and you can go back to back with your reloads. So when you hit a shuriken into an enemy, it will actually reload the fighting lion. So the basic gameplay loop would be to lion, and then as the reload animation happens, throw a shuriken, and you instantly reload. So you can get 2, 3, 4 grenade launcher rounds off before you actually have to physically reload the gun. But other than that, we're just spamming our melee and our dodge. if the melee's ever down, you know, dodge and vice versa. So pretty fun, pretty nice. Once you get a few stacks of Warmind charge, once you get 10, then you'll create those big solar explosions that can clear out entire rooms. Now I will say this particular build is more of a close quarter combat build, so I'm having trouble here because these guys are range. So you know, rocket or range stuff would be a little bit nicer here, but the machine gun does work. It puts in work, pal! And then the boss can eat my super move, and then we'll go ahead and finish off the rest of the servitors. They do have that annoying, like, invincibility stuff. But yeah, I'm really liking this build. It's a lot of fun. Like I said, last night I did do the -50 Grandmaster. I had a few deaths, and I was just like 5 seconds under the time. So 45-minute time clear. I'm still pretty happy with that. Got some decent weapons and stuff. But anyway, so that's going to be it for the build video. Let me know what you think down below. I'd like to hear from you. A like and subscribe is always appreciated. And until the next video, I'll see y'all later. Peace!